This is District 13, a 6-minute technical RPG track that is widely regarded as one of the most legendary and iconic RPG maps of all time. It was built by Virtual and released on the 19th August 2018 for the RPG Spain Cup. The map is known for its heavy focus on flow and consistency, which makes it a very pleasant and enjoyable map to hunt. Something that a lot of people don't know is that Virtual used to be considered the best RPG player from 2017 until 2019. A common principle for mapping is that a good player is usually able to build a good map, because they are more capable of judging lines at a top level as opposed to a mediocre player. In the track's description, Virtual mentioned that he was frustrated with the tracks of the RPG Spain Cup 2017 and wanted to build a track that is more huntable and consistent to drive. The end result is a masterpiece. Before we get to my journey, we have to talk about the track's history. With the track's release came a GPS time of 6 minutes and 49 hundredths by Virtual. A very strong benchmark for anyone who dared to go for the record. His run was very clean, pushing every corner, drift and jump to its limits, but it had two mistakes. A small wall touch that lost him 0.3 of a second, and a clip at the second last jump that lost him a second. These two mistakes sadly cost him the sub 6, and showed that the sub is definitely within reach, but it was going to be a tough challenge. Months go by, with nobody managing to break Virtual's record, until December 2018, where Levon took an interest to the track. He gave District 13 a shot, and after a 50-hour grind, he got this run on the track. 5 minutes, 57 seconds and 63 hundredths, smashing Virtual's record by 3 whole seconds. This run has no visible mistakes, it's just 6 minutes of very clean and risky driving. This record set a strong message for the track. The run has no mistakes, so the only way to improve from now on is to outpace Levon, and that's not gonna be an easy task. This record caught the attention of Bren, who at the end of 2018 played the map for a whole week on stream to try and break the record. On the 3rd January 2019, after spending 20 hours, he succeeded with his hunt and achieved this run. A 5:57.28, beating Levon's time by 0.4 of a second. The pace of this run was incredible, but it had one mistake. He clipped the CP arch and lost 0.5 of a second, leaving a tiny bit of improvement on the table. Despite the CP arch clip, Levon did not fight back, and the record stood at 5:57.28 by Bren for years. Levon made his grand return to the track in March of 2022. Now having earned the title of Best RPG Player, he was ready to take back what was once his. After a few days of hunting, on the 21st March 2022, he managed to reclaim the record with this run. 5:56.84, beating Bren by 0.4 of a second. The pace of this run was monstrous, but he made a huge mistake by barely clipping the inside of this drift, costing him 1.3 seconds. Levon was not satisfied with this run, so the hunt continued, and just a day later, Levon drove one of the strongest RPG records of all time when he got this run on District 13. "5 minutes, 55 seconds and 53 hundredths, beating his former record by 1.3 of a second. This run is simply mesmerizing. Every part of the track pushed to its absolute limits. He did do one drift a little poorly, but this only lost him 0.3 of a second. One thing that you have to understand about RPG records is that you will never be satisfied. No run will ever be perfect, because no human can ever drive perfectly across 6 minutes of gameplay. Beating this record would prove to be one hell of a challenge, and it stood for years. Until the Cut Nation attacked. District 13 is very reuse heavy. Reuses are parts throughout the map where you drive the same section multiple times. If you've ever dabbled into cut finding, a map that has reuses is a cut finder's dream, since they are very prone to shortcuts due to their nature. Much like a lot of other maps that have reuses, District 13 had a hidden reroute as well. In early March of 2024, Holzbalken discovered a reroute on District 13 that rearranges the order of checkpoints in the first 2 minutes of the track. Shortly after, Ike created a task where he drove the reroute with save states and put it together with Levon's record after the respawn, resulting in a time of 5 minutes, 45 seconds and 53 hundredths, meaning the reroute saves 10 seconds if executed well. The discovery of this reroute was met with a bit of controversy, since the main thing District 13 was known for was its flowiness and consistency. The map has no parts where you could gain time simply due to luck. If your run has no bugs and clean driving, there are no RNG tricks to save you at any time, just pure and raw skill. Virtual was asked if he wanted to fix the reroute, but he said that he thinks it's cool and that he doesn't want to update the map, which makes sense because it's Virtual. He loves shortcuts. With the reroute being public and having 10 seconds of leeway for the record, people started hunting it. After a few days, on the 7th March 2022, Tails became the first person to beat Levon with this run. "5:53.58, beating Levon by 2 whole seconds. This record was obviously far from perfect, but it pushed District 13 into a new era, with Levon's legendary no-cut record now being obsolete. A few months later, Neon managed to beat Tails' time with a 5:52.18, beating it by 1.3 seconds. Later in December 2024, Tails returned to the track and discovered that it's faster to take this section of the reroute the other way around, saving a second. With this newly gained knowledge, Tails got to work and later on the same day got a 5:51.82. Neon caught wind of this improvement quite quickly, and 2 days later on the 7th December 2024 got a time of 5:50.70. This is where the record stood when I got interested in the track. I randomly got Levon's 5:55 recommended to me on YouTube and I watched a run and was fascinated by just how clean this record was. It truly is one of the greatest RPG records ever driven, and I remembered that a reroute had been found. I saw that the record is a 5:50.70 by Neon, and the reroute saves 10 seconds, so if you do the math, the record isn't even a sub 6 if you convert it. If you look at Neon's run, his pace almost rivals Levon's. His reroute is super fast and the driving on the second part of the track is exceptionally clean. However, he had 2 mistakes on this run. He clipped the CP arch after the bug slide, losing him a second. And later in the run, he touched the wall and didn't have enough speed for the next jump, losing him 3.5 seconds. The world record on such a legendary map having such mistakes didn't feel right to me, so I took it upon myself to beat it and bring the record back to its former glory. I started playing the map on the 14th June 2025. On my first day of playing, I didn't do any real runs on the track and just focused on learning the lines using TM interface. Things were going smoothly, but I had a lot of issues with 2 parts of the reroute. The first part is at 1 minute and 15 seconds, the overwall. This part can make or break a run. You have to approach the platform wall with a slight right angle and lift your back wheels up, so you can clip on top of the road border. After all of my hunting sessions, I still don't fully understand how you're supposed to get this consistently. There were so many times where I would just turtle or lose multiple seconds for seemingly no reason at all. I got so desperate for something consistent that I even tried to search for a different strat, and I actually found something and practiced it for a bit. By hitting the edge of this platform block, you can set up for a bug slide and climb the connection block before the checkpoint. But it turned out to be less consistent than I thought, so I returned to doing the overwall. The other part is 15 seconds later at 1 minute and 30 seconds. The jump. On the part before the jump, you have to land on a tent, jump into this gap and slam into the wall while maintaining speed on the exit. Depending on your exit speed, you have to make adjustments on your line and air brake timing. This jump can mess you over in so many ways. You can be too fast for this jump, too slow for this jump. You can get a random rotation to the right. You can lose the gear on the landing. You can get a landing bug. Even if you have the perfect speed, perfect air brake timing, perfect rotation, this jump can still mess you up for absolutely no reason. It frustrated me a lot, and it's the one thing that I wasn't able to get consistent on at all. Even the overwall I managed to get better at by the end, but this jump ended about half of my runs up until this point. There's also the part at 40 seconds where you jump onto this ramp, and it has about a 90% chance to land bug, meaning every once in a while you just have a run that gains half a second on this part. These parts are the reason why the perception of this reroute was split in the community. Inconsistency and luck is not what District 13 should harbor. On the second day, I felt ready to start doing real attempts, and it started out pretty rough. My consistency on the reroute was horrible, and I barely got any runs to the respawn, and the few ones that did make it were several seconds behind Neon. My goal for this map was a 5:47, basically matching Neon's pace without having the huge 3-second crash. But I acknowledged that maybe a 45 would be possible for me as well, with a godly run. But I just wanted a clean run really. With clean, I mean that my driving has to be clean. If I lose like a second or two on the overwall or the jump, I wouldn't really mind, as those parts are way too inconsistent for me to bother. By the end of the second day, I had a few promising runs, but not a single run that made it to the finish line. On the third day, consistency started to really increase for me. I had way more runs that got to the respawn, and I was slowly figuring out the line for the overwall. At 5:30 PM, I started a run that seemed pretty promising. Going into the respawn, I was only half a second behind Neon.
So bad.
5:49.82, beating Neon's record by a second. From my reaction you can tell that I was not satisfied with this record at all. The run fell apart after my first mistake at 4 minutes 30 and others followed. I did not waste any time and got back to the grind, and I seem to have entered a flow state because just 30 minutes later I started another run that seemed promising. (5:48.51), shaving another 1.3 seconds off the record. Driving wise, my run had really good pace, but I lost 1.5 seconds at the overwall and half a second with this clip. After these two runs, I played for a little longer, but the flow state seemed to have ended, and I didn't get any good runs going, so I stopped for the day. On the fourth day, I was starting to get really frustrated. My consistency was getting worse because my standards for a good run had changed. If I had even the slightest crash, I would instantly retire the run, even if I only lost 0.3 with it. On top of that, I was pushing every part harder than before, so I made more mistakes as a result. On the 17th June, 4 days after starting my hunt, I wrote to Ike that I am really close to the dream run, I feel like. Did a few runs from respawn. I can realistically drop 5:45 soon, I think. And just 10 minutes later, I started a run that is perhaps one of the cleanest runs I have ever driven in this game. Sit back and enjoy.
Please. Oh my god. Oh my god, what a run! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god, what a run! Holy shit! Finally! Oh! Jesus Christ! Man, holy shit.
5 minutes, 45 seconds and 96 hundredths, beating Neon's record by 5 seconds. This run matched Levon's 5:55 from the respawn till the finish line, so I am pretty satisfied with this run. I definitely have the pace for the no-cut record as well, and will probably go for it, but that's for another video. This was my first attempt at making a voice narrated video, so if you have any feedback, please let me know in the comments. If you want me to make more videos like these, let me know in the comments as well. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.